Hello everyone in the EDAP 690 class. This is a follow-up and final resolution to our classroom not having a classroom assigned and us having to move to Monday night. The other issue that became very evident when we did meet last Monday was that the Collaborate was not working yet on the class. And the reason for that was the Dean's office had not created a Collaborate separate section for those of you who are taking classes online. All of that has been resolved. Our official meeting time and place and day is now Monday, 4:30 to 7 in room 201G, that is upstairs in the College of Education in the ERTC. So for those of you who were not able to get in last Monday because of the Collaborate issue, let me just walk you through what we're going to be doing and kind of set the stage for what we'll be doing come Monday the 22nd. We will not have class Monday the 15th because of Dr. King's birthday. So we will meet for the first time, and for some of you we will meet for the second time on Monday the 22nd. So here we go, real fast. First of all, for those of you who will be online, you can see that we now have a link that takes us to the Collaborate portion. There is no Collaborate recordings yet because you can't put those in until you actually have a recording. So don't worry, it'll show up. It'll be right here underneath the Collaborate where you normally go in and connect. Up here is the link to our modules. Let's look at that real quickly. On the 22nd, what we will be doing is our first module, and for those of you who have had me before, you know how this kind of works. We're going to be creating something called a wiki space that will become the location, your e-portfolio if you will, for all the things that we create in this class. And so as you can see, for that night we'll be looking at one of my favorite apps, and for those of you who have had it before, I think it's yours as well, and that's GoAnimate. And basically what you're doing with the GoAnimate in this particular instance is you're going to create an avatar of you, and you will then basically just tell us a little story about who you are, what your hobbies are, and what your passion is, and your job. We're going to understand how to do the trick of using embed code in our wiki space, and the way we will practice that right out of the box is we will find a YouTube video about your content. Doesn't have to be very specific, doesn't have to, if you just find something kind of fun that you want to put in, the whole exercise is for you to be introduced to this thing called View Pure, which is a way for you to get YouTube videos that are cleaned up. You don't have to deal with any ads, you don't have to deal with the annoying recommendations at the end. It's a nice way to control the content that might be in a YouTube video that you want to use in your classroom. And just give us a short paragraph. Hey, this is why I picked it. I like it. It helps you understand this. And my kids like it. I mean, find something you use. Don't feel like you've got to go out and reinvent a wheel here. This is where, like I said, you will be keeping your creations. Each time we create something new, the first thing that we will do in class is we will walk through the process of creating a new page in our wiki space. We will label that page with the name of the module, and then when you are finished your project for that module, it will live there in the wiki space. And the way that you then put all that into live text is extremely simple. You just go up to the top of the page in your wiki space. It represents the page where the module lives. Copy the URL, go to live text, and paste it in the right place. And that's all there is to it. So we're going to be doing the wiki first, and then we're going to jump right in to Mayor's multimedia stuff. Now, Mayor is the lift for our class. We'll probably spend a good 3 class times exploring Mayor. I've got to explain to you basically chapter 1 in his book, and you will need the book. And when I do that, we then will do a selection of which one of his principles, and here they are, that you are going to be responsible for reporting out to our class using a tool called VoiceThread. Now, I know some of you have used VoiceThread in the past and you kind of like, I don't like it very much. If you'll notice that what I've tried to do here is to give you a very straightforward rubric on what needs to go into the VoiceThread. And all of these define the principles, examples, the case, the research. Every single one of these is in the chapter in the book about your particular principle. So basically what you're doing is you're going to read, you're going to paraphrase, you're going to help us understand what Mayer is trying to say. The part that we're going to use as a classroom assessment is the last one, which says you need to create a prompt question for us to respond to about your principle. In other words, you're going to ask us a question, a prompt that will give us a way to be able to talk back to you to demonstrate our understanding of the principle that you have created. We will have a space in our class that's located right here, Mayer's Multimedia. When you click on that, that will take us into the VoiceThread link for our class. As you can see up here, it says 690.75, and as you can see, it's empty right now. Now, there are a couple of tricks with this that I will definitely show you, but I want to assure you that if you accidentally create a VoiceThread and put it in the wrong place, which you can do, because each one of you, by the way, as a student, you have access to VoiceThread and you can use it. And one of the nice things about VoiceThread is once you create it here inside a Blackboard, you can put it anywhere. So in our particular instance for our class, you'll be putting your VoiceThread that you create here, you'll put a copy of it over into one of your wiki pages, and there it can live. So if you have any kind of web-enabled space, be it a Google Classroom, be it a Schoology, be it just a web page for your class, you know, something you created using Weebly or whatever that's out there, you can create VoiceThreads and then you can put them over into those web-enabled spaces and they will still work. That's the cool thing about it. So that'll be the lift. In other words, the part that I feel will be the work, the part that you're going to have to really do some thinking and some reading. Then after that, like it says in the introduction to the class, it's really kind of just enjoying some really cool apps that demonstrate digital storytelling. The first one we're going to use is Animoto. Great digital storytelling tool, very simple. The second one you're already familiar with, and this is GoAnimate. But what we're going to do with GoAnimate that might be a little bit different, and these are the 7 aspects of something that we call digital storytelling, is that I'm going to ask you to use this as a rubric for the creation of your GoAnimate. Like the first one we'll create just sort of a, free-for-all, just enjoy playing with it. But in this one I'm really going to be looking for you to have a point of view, dramatic question, emotional content, the gift of your voice. Now that doesn't mean you have to record your voice. It can mean that you use the voice capability in GoAnimate. I'm going to ask you to have a soundtrack. In other words, you need to have music, something that helps us understand your story. I have not given the story any more definition than that. As you'll see as we go through here, there's some, like, well, the first one, the Animoto. The Animoto, I want to know your journey. I want to know the story of your journey into teaching. That'll be the frame for that one. In this one, in storytelling in Module 4, I'm going to let you come up with that focus. So you can basically create a fiction story. You can create a factual story. Anything you want to do following these 7 guidelines. The next one we're going to do is something near and dear to my heart. In Module 5, we're going to be creating an audio story. Audio stories are all the rage right now. This American Life, podcasting. This is something I've been doing for almost 20 years, to be quite honest with you. I'm very comfortable sitting in front of this microphone that I'm sitting in front of right now. And you'll notice in class that I also have a big giant microphone that kind of looks like an old-time radio microphone. It's not. It's a very modern microphone. But getting comfortable with your voice, and this is kind of like why I do this, getting comfortable with your voice is something that every teacher needs to do. Because there'll come a time when you're going to have to be creating content and not just standing in front of a class. And so you want to get comfortable with how you sound and how you speak. Well, this one, what we're going to do is we're going to create a visual picture using sound. And one of the exciting things about doing sound is that you have all the ability in the world to build a story that can be very rich in the depth of the audio that you use. And as you can see here, we will have a focus on this one. This one we're going to have a focus around resiliency. And so you're going to come up with a time, it can be in your life or your teaching career, when you had to overcome something. And as you can see, again, the rubric here is asking for you to employ dialogue, to employ sound effects, and to employ music. Now, we're a big enough class that if you want to work with a partner on this, I think that would be a great idea. Can we do this in class? Well, yes, we can. I mean, we have the ability to record our voices. We're a little big. I mean, we're at least 7 people that are physically there. But if you want to work with a partner, I think that'd be great. We did that in the last time we did the class in the fall, and we had some really great stories. To do this one, we'll be using something called Soundation, which is an online recording capability. And then you can take those online files and you can do anything with them you want. In our case, we'll be creating an MP3 file, and you know what that is. That's what you listen to on your phone all the time, or when you're listening to Spotify or Pandora. Those are all MP3 files. You're going to be able to upload that onto your Wikispace page, and it will actually upload as a playable item. It won't just be a file. It'll actually come up with a little icon that represents that you can play it. So this is pretty cool. Soundation is extremely easy to use, and I think you'll find that it's fun. We're going to do Module 6, which is Storytelling with Google Tour. One of the things that I love about the Google Tour is that now you have the ability to literally take someone on a trip, complete with, let's stop here and take a look at this. Because Google has done such a good job with expanding its Street View capability, we can literally jump from one location to another location and literally stand in the middle and turn around and look at things. This is really cool. They have done a fairly decent job with having historical areas. In other words, actually taking you back to Rome during the time of the Roman Empire. That's something that we will have to take a look at and see how far they've gotten with that. So if you want to do it as sort of a history story, take us somewhere historically, or if you just want to take us on a tour of your life, the places where you've lived, the places where you've taught, anything like that will work. And finally, if you could make it in, this is for those folks in the great beyond, this will not count for anything. In other words, this will not be an assignment that you have to put into your Wikispace or the live text or anything like that. But I thought that we might want to just have a night where we can play with green screening. If you've never done a green screen, the good news is that it has become almost, I just can't get over, again, 20 years ago when I first started doing chroma keying, which is the actual name for all of this. When I started doing chroma keying with kids and schools, and I only could work with a very few schools because they had to have high levels of technology to be able to do it. And then on top of that, the software was just a bear to work with in using green screen. We used to use, well, of course, iMovie has had green screen for a long time, as Final Cut has, and as Premiere has. But those are very high-level video editing tools that you really have to know what you're doing to get it to come out where it looks halfway nice. Now, all you need is an iPad or phone for that matter, an iPhone, and a free app. That's how simple it has become. But this is not a class that you necessarily will have to come to if you're in the great beyond. If you want, we'd love to have you. In fact, I'll even sweeten the deal is we'll have a pizza night. We'll throw some pizza out on the tables and we'll just have fun. Your hat, which is right here, is where I'm going to ask that you pick any example of multimedia that you may use. And that can be any PowerPoints that you're required to use as a part of your teaching, especially those of you in middle and high school. Textbooks now come with their own PowerPoints. If you want to use something like BrainPop, if you're in elementary school, anything. If you want to use YouTube videos that you have been using in your class, any of that, you can use that for your final. And in that final, what you're going to do is we're going to copy this table that's here in our Blackboard space, and we're going to paste it into our wiki. And then you're going to basically either upload the files, in other words, if it's PowerPoint that you use, or put the link in that'll take me to the YouTube video. BrainPop, by the way, same thing. You then will go through and basically identify the parts of Mayer's principles that do exist or not exist in your multimedia example. And then over here, this is where you're going to tell me how you see that the coherence principle is demonstrated in your multimedia example. Just that simple. Okay, so that's the class. Those of you who are in the great beyond, those of you who are taking the class online, were rather upset over the fact that we didn't have class. In other words, it wasn't out there that night. And again, all I can do is deeply apologize to you and tell you, and I hate doing this, but I have to honestly do this and say it wasn't my fault. I had nothing to do with the screw up here. I did not change this. I did not want to change this. I wanted us to have that time. But everything is fixed. So if you were thinking about dropping the class, don't drop the class. It's a great class. It's an easy class. It's a fun class. Take the class. You'll enjoy it. As always, and you know this, those of you who have been with me before, and I'm just going to say it again for those of you who are new, I have a cell phone that I gladly give you the SMS text number for. And here it is, right here, 502-457-2937, 502-457-2937. This is also in the syllabus, by the way. You may use this text number anytime you need to ask a question. If you're having trouble with something not working, if you can't be in class, just let me know. Now, those of you who are taking the class through the Great Beyond, in the Great Beyond, you realize that you do have the luxury, and I guess this is the only thing you get for the 10% surcharge they put on distance ed classes. You do have the luxury that you can be with us in class on Monday at 4:30, or you can wait until the recording of the class is posted, and you can then sit and watch it. Anytime, though, that you're running into problems and you have a question, I don't care if you're in the class with me or if you're in the Great Beyond in the online class, text me. Ask those questions. Email is fine, but I do not reply to email as quickly as I will a text message. You know that. You know how quickly you react to text messages on your phone. Alrighty. As I said, no class for this Monday. We will be meeting on the 22nd. In room 201G at 4:30. Those of you who are in the Great Beyond, you know that the room will always be open around 4 o'clock for you to drop into. Also to give you a chance that if you're trying to get into the room and it isn't working, in other words, if you're having trouble getting into the room, you then have some time to text me and say, hey, Steve, what's up? Thank you all. I appreciate you. You do not know how much I appreciate you. and you do not know how much I appreciate your willingness and your patience to enjoy this class. I guarantee you will enjoy this class. See you on the 22nd.